In a fundraising email sent out on Monday, Donald Trump informed his supporters that he was withdrawing from the presidential race. "I'm suspending my campaign" was the topic of an email sent on Monday to the former president's supporters, according to posts made to X, the social media network that was once known as Twitter, by Andrew Slender of Axios and Nick Corasaniti of the New York Times. But the email's content made clear that it was only an April Fool's hoax and not a real announcement that his presidential campaign had been put on hold. The email says, "Just kidding, happy April Fool's Day." With enough delegates gained in their respective primaries to guarantee their party's presidential selections, Trump and President Joe Biden will square off in the November presidential election. Numerous polls indicate that Trump is leading the contest by a small margin. However, he may be subject to several criminal cases, the first of which is scheduled to start later in April, just before the election, making for an eventful summer for him. A similar statement was shared by the Trump Save America Joint Fundraising Committee, a PAC backing the former president's candidacy, on WinRed, a website dedicated to Republican fundraising. "Honestly, did you think I would abandon my campaign? Happy Fool's Day in April. I will always stand up for the citizens of the United States." The page continues to urge readers to contribute at least $5 to Trump's campaign, saying, "I will never surrender." The Trump campaign has not responded to the fundraising email in the open. Given that Biden has outperformed Trump in recent months, some Republicans are raising worries about the campaign's finances, which is why the email was sent. By the end of February, Biden had raised around $127 million to challenge Trump, with roughly $71 million in cash on hand, according to Federal Election Commission (FEC) figures. He raised a further $25 million at a fundraiser in New York City last week. According to FEC data, Trump had only raised roughly $99 million during that time, and he had only $33.5 million in cash on hand. Some Democrats mocked the fundraising email, writing, "The man hasn't campaigned in over 2 weeks, so it tracks." Former congressional candidate Christopher Hale was among those who made light of it. It happened when he shared a different Easter holiday greeting on his social media account, Truth Social. "Happy Easter to all, including crooked and corrupt prosecutors and judges that are doing everything possible to interfere with the presidential election of 2024 and put me in prison, including those many people that I completely and totally despise because they want to destroy America, a now failing nation," he wrote in a letter. Moreover, following their respective delegate thresholds being met earlier this month in a whirlwind primary season, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are headed for a high-stakes rematch for the White House in November's election. As both men fully commit to running for office, Trump is operating without the backing of many former White House officials, some of whom have chosen not to support him even in his capacity as the Republican nominee, and others who have publicly declared they will not vote for him and have even gone so far as to encourage against his re-election. None of these individuals matter or have any power. That's the reason why President Trump won the primary and is crushing crooked Joe Biden in battleground surveys. The vice president of Trump's administration, Mike Pence, stated earlier this month that he was unable to support him for a second term in office in good conscience. In an interview with Fox News on March 15th, Pence stated, "It's not surprising that I'm not supporting Donald Trump this year. I made it very evident during my presidential campaign that President Trump and I disagreed greatly on a number of subjects. The conservative platform that we ran our 4 years of government on is not aligned with the agenda that Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating. And for that reason," Pence continued, "I cannot, with good conscience, support Donald Trump in this campaign." The former vice president, however, made it plain that he would never support Biden while omitting to specify who he would ultimately vote for. Pence declared, "I'm going to keep my vote to myself." Former Trump Secretary of Defense Mark Esper told CNN last July that Trump is not fit for office because he puts himself first, and I think anybody running for office should put the country first. Mark Esper held the position from July 2019 to November 2020. Over the last 9 months, his disavowal of Trump has intensified. As a panelist on Friday's episode of HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, Esper made it plain that he would not support Trump, predicting that the first year of a second Trump term would be similar to the final year of the previous one in terms of new officials who would bring craziness and allegiance to the president.